Hey kids, it's Miss Patty. Today we're going to be drawing a truck. Not just any truck. This is a retro truck filled with either bushels of apples or pumpkins, or my personal favorite, a big bucket of flowers, some freshly cut flowers. Now you're going to have the option of personalizing your truck. So in my case, I added a sign to the side of my truck. You can do that or not. You can also choose the colors of your truck. Now I have a really handy way to draw that truck, so stay tuned and I'll show you how to do that. But the background is filled with beautiful farm and fall foliage. So we're going to draw some fields and you can paint them and color them all sorts of different colors. So the first step is we're going to draw the truck, and I'm using a really cool template. So you have one, you can print this template out and it's located below the video. Now see this dark line? This is the part that I want you to cut out. And when you do, you'll notice that you'll get something that looks like this. But this is a really cool way to get the body of the truck in place so you know that it's going to be big enough. And then we're going to be drawing the cab, the wheels, the fenders, and then of course all of the good stuff that goes inside. Now the other fun thing is that you get to change what you want in the back of your truck. So I cut out some flowers and I kind of slotted them in there, and you can cut out other things as well. Now we're going to be drawing the truck, and then we're going to start to draw the background. Depending on how big your truck is, you're going to be able to fit in lots of things or just a few things. And then I drew some extra flowers just because I was really getting into it, so I added my flowers here at the end. So kids, this is what you're going to need to do this project. Go ahead and get a 12 by 15 sheet of paper. This is just a regular piece of drawing paper. If yours is bigger, that's great. If it's smaller, that's okay too. You might need to adjust the size of your template if you're using a smaller piece of paper. I'm going to draw with a Sharpie marker and a pencil. So the pencil goes first, and I'm only using this pencil a little bit. Mostly I'm drawing with the Sharpie. And then I'm going to be erasing all of the lines with my eraser. I also have some colored pencils. So this is going to be added to the end of the project. And I'm using connector paints, the thick, the opaque, really rich colored paints that we use a lot here in primary to paint the truck, or actually paint the landscape. And you have the option of using this to paint your truck. Okay, I think that's about it. Water, paintbrushes. Let's get started, okay? Okay kids, we're going to start drawing the truck. So the first thing I want you to do is print this out on cardstock, and your mom or dad probably already did that for you. Then we're going to cut out this template. I already cut mine out, and what I want to do, I want to put it someplace in the middle of my paper. Not way up here though, but more down towards the bottom. So this is going to be the bed of the truck. Like, it looks kind of weird, like really long and skinny, like, boy, Miss Patty, that's going to be a long and skinny truck, but it actually works out really well. So really lightly, and I'll make sure that you leave some room for your wheels. Now I found this little container, just like from a jar, that I'm going to use as a template for my wheels. And you find something similar, make sure it's not too big. It shouldn't be any bigger than the template. That's kind of a guide for you. So I want to put this down here, maybe up a little bit. Then I'm going to trace around my template, just like that. And then that is almost done actually. Look at this little template. This happens to be about the size of the cab. So what I want to do is take my template and put it at the very edge and make a little tiny line right there. And then I want you to put this little template right about there. Now don't make it too tall, because then the cab of the truck is kind of weird looking. So you want to keep it kind of like a square. And what I want you to do is just trace around that really lightly. When you get to this point, I want you to angle the template so that you're almost connecting a little line here with the top. So this is the windshield. See? It doesn't have to be that angled. If you want to make it less angled, you can, which I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, that looks good right there. I'm going to erase this line. Now, my truck does not have a pointy hood. So the next part is rounding out the edges. So that looks good. You might need to move your artworks to make sure that you have a nice rounded hood of your car or truck. You want to make it rounded here and here. See how it just makes it look a little bit more realistic? And you want to do your windshield, and that looks pretty good. Now let's add the wheels. I want this wheel to be towards the back, and I'm just tracing. Now remember, the wheels you don't want the top of the wheel to touch the bottom of the truck. That would be kind of like interesting. We want the wheel to almost be dissected in half by the undercarriage of the truck. Now take this little wheel and move it all towards the front. And the wheel, it's kind of a little bit more in front of the cab. So if your cab is here, look at where the wheel is. See? So I'm moving it a little bit towards the front and going around. That's it. Okay, this is looking really good. Now, at this point, I'm going to move to my marker. If you still feel like you want to draw with pencil, go right ahead. I'll probably come back to that pencil in just a minute, but I want to do a few things. Okay, I'm rolling up my sleeves. I want to draw a little circle inside my wheel. One here and one here. Okay, then I want to draw a line or trace this line. It's hard tracing a circle. It really is. I mean, the easier way is if you kind of rotate the paper and use the natural curve of your hand. Otherwise, it's just difficult. There we go. And it won't be perfect. And guess what? That is okay, because no circle is just perfect in a drawing. There we go. I think that wheel looks really good, but that's only the start of the wheel. I think I'm going to take my pencil and I want to show you something. I want you to put your finger right along the edge of the wheel. Do you see how my finger is right along with that black line? I want you to make a little dash right there. I want you to turn your paper, put your finger again along the side of the wheel, make a dash. I want you to go all the way around, make a dash using your own finger. There. Now, what I just did is created a little guide in which to follow to make an inside circle. Isn't that cool? And then take your Sharpie and go around. Now, this is the hubcap inside. Now, let's do that again. That's my trick for making an easy circle. Now, you can just draw it freehand. I'm not that good at drawing circles, so I need a little bit of help. And my finger's here to help me. Okay, so now, just lightly sketch, connect the lines. It won't look perfect, but it's going to give you a pretty good idea on just the perfect size for the hubcap. Okay, now let's keep drawing a circle. I want to do a little line, a rim. Oh, I did that without turning the paper. That was good. Okay, believe me, it looks simple, but it's actually hard. Now what we're going to do, I want you to make a line here. It's kind of like a little letter U. And here. And then I want you to connect those lines, trying to make sure it's nice and even all the way around. And then you just created the fenders. Okay, now the next thing to do is we're going to draw the undercarriage of the truck. Just like that. Just trace along the bottom. I want you to make a curved line and do another line. There. Okay, it's looking like a truck, right? Now let's draw the back and then all the way over here. And we're going to draw the cab Just trace the lines that you just already created, and down and around. Let's add a line here. Let's add a light, so it's like a little angle line and a little rectangle. It's looking like a truck. And right here, I want to just trace a window. Okay, good. This is where the door is. And make a door handle. There. How's it coming? Was that challenging? Okay. We're going to stop right here because you might need to catch up. So whenever you feel like you need to catch up, make sure you press pause. Now, when you get to this stage, it always looks a little funky until we get things in the back, but I'm really happy with this. We're going to draw a person inside the truck, and we're going to start adding things to the bed. I want to draw like a wooden frame around the bed of my truck. So I'm going to create two little lines, like little rectangles, and I want to create a big long rectangle that basically attaches to the back of the truck. And it's just separated from the top of the bed of the truck, and it's wood. So I'm just making these little texture lines. There, isn't that cool? I'm going to show you how to draw a person driving a truck. It's not easy, so get out your pencil. Now, we want to draw the steering wheel first, and I'm just drawing a line and then the post that holds the steering wheel to the car. Now, weirdly enough, we're going to be drawing the hand first. So I want to draw a hand. Here's my thumb. It's going to hover over. So it's like a little line and it curves around. And then my hand goes here. It's like a mitt. He's folding over his fingers. Then I want you to angle this down. Put a little cuff on the person. And then I want you to go up and down. So that's the shoulder. So here's a line here, here's a line here, and the fingers. Isn't that cool? Now, draw a little line here, and then it goes up to a neck, which doesn't really look like a neck yet, but hold on. So this is where we want the head. So draw kind of like a letter U, and then we want to make a nose. And let's put a hat on this person, maybe a cowboy hat. Okay, let's make an ear, eyes, mouth, and hair. There we go. And let's do a collar. Well, it's okay. And then a seat right here. I'll snug into that seat. Okay, for this person, we did the same thing. So the hand and the shoulder, and then I went up and did that letter U for the head, and then I put a hat on and a ponytail, a nose, and a mouth. And so I'm going to show you a couple of options right beside me. So like a man and a woman, and then you can even like customize the clothes and just do your best. If it doesn't look good, just erase it and do it again. And you'll get it. Okay, I'm gonna go over it with marker. I'm just gonna color in the steering wheel black just so I can see it. There we go. Wow, he's fancy. Okay, so now what I want to do, and this is something that you can do if you want to, kids. You can make a sign on the bed of your truck. So I'm making a triangle. Nope, that's not a triangle. Making a rectangle. And you can add anything. Let's call him Bob. Bob's pumpkin patch. We just barely got that in. There we go. Making some decorations. So that's Bob, and he's running a pumpkin patch. Okay, now kiddos, we're not going to draw anything in the truck yet. What we want to do now is do the background. So we're going to make a road for our Bob's pumpkin patch truck to ride on, and then we're going to do some landscaping in the back. So get out your marker. The first thing we're going to draw is a line that indicates a little bit of grass and the road. And this can be kind of bumpy. Notice how I'm making a wiggly line and then I'm making little jaggedy edges. It just shows that the road is not a paved road. It's not a smooth road. This is a bumpy road. It's probably along the side of the fields where he's harvesting his pumpkins. And I'm making these wiggly lines to indicate that it is a dirt road. Okay, now what we want to do is do some hills. So start from the side of the paper and come down towards the truck. Then move towards the middle of the hill, and let's see what happens when we kind of come down like that. Go all the way to the other side of the paper. Now right here, let's do some trees. Trees in the distance, these are going to be deciduous trees, and deciduous trees are trees that lose their leaves in the fall and they turn bright, bright colors. So this is an opportunity for us to add really pretty colors to our artwork. So this is how you make a big grove of poplars or elm trees in the background. You want to go up, 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 bump, 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 and then come down, and bump, 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 and then come down. And just keep on doing these bump, bump, bumps. Just like that. Wow, that's a big grove of trees. I'm going to do some hills in the background. I have to hop over those trees. And then maybe I'll do another smaller bunch of trees here. And there. And then I'm going to do some mountains. This is a pretty place to live. And this mountain's going to go up and down. Now what I want to do, kids, is I want to make some fluffy clouds. It's kind of the same way you make the grove of trees, except they're just a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, I am ready to start painting. So I'm done with my Sharpie marker. I'm done with my pencil. I'm done with my eraser. So now it's all about the painting. So go ahead and finish up your drawing. I know that was like a lot of drawing, but take your time and add all the details that you want. And then when we come back, get out your connector paints or your cake tempera paints and a good medium-sized brush, and we're going to get started with the background. I have all my paints here, but I haven't put away my drawing tools because we're still going to draw the bushels of apples and the pumpkins and the buckets of flowers to put into our bed, our truck bed, a little bit later on. But for now, I'm just going to paint. So I'm going to choose a color for my sky, and you can choose blue. But you can also choose whatever color you want. Like maybe, depending on the time of day, it's early morning. Maybe the sunrise is coming up, or maybe it's towards dusk when the sun is setting. Maybe you have a sky that's a little bit blue and moving into dusk. I think that's what I'll do. I still have the clouds, but maybe I'll paint the clouds a little darker. So I'm going to add a little bit of purple now, just because that's what I feel like doing. You can always look outside your window and see what the sky is looking like. Is it gray? Is it raining? It could be raining in this picture. And Bob is trying to get his pumpkins in his truck before it rains. So I'm doing a little bit of a circular motion with my brush. Just having some fun with getting it all covered on the white paper. There, I really have a multicolored sky, but I'm liking the look of that. I'm going to take a very warm yellow, which is like this yellow ochre, and I'm just going to make my clouds just a little bit less white. Now I'm really liking the purple, and I'm thinking about the pumpkins that I'm going to be putting in my truck a little bit later, and I know they're orange, and I know that purple and orange, boy, they just contrast so nicely. So I'm using some purple here and maybe some pink from my faraway mountain. And I'm just painting around my grove of trees. If I want to make that a little darker, I could add some blue. Go ahead and experiment with your colors. You don't have to choose the colors that I'm choosing. Now, for instance, I think I'm going to add a little bit of orange to my blue. Do you see what happens? It turns a little muddy, almost like a navy. And that's what I wanted. I wanted a darker color for my mountains. There we go. Looks pretty cool. Now this mountain I'm going to make green with a little bit of brown. And a little bit of blue. This is really fun. Really enjoying this art making today. I like mixing different colors on my mountains or my hills and then kind of blending them together just to see what I like. You'll notice that I mix my colors on my paper a lot. I like doing that. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Let's make maybe, no, not an orange. How about this color, this ochre? Nope, green. See, I kind of changed my mind a lot. So I'm getting in my landscape colors first. I want to go a little lighter as I get towards the front, a little brighter. Using a little bit of the green, the lime green, mixed with that yellow ochre. Boy, I love that ochre. It just goes with so many different colors. Taking my brush and just smoothing it along. Now I'm not going to forget this little line here. And now it's time to change colors. I think I'll do a brown. Now I'm going to do the road and I'm going to mix some brown and some black. Be careful when you're doing the road. You want to take the tip of your paintbrush and you just want to put it on the side and go around your truck. I'm mixing my brown and my black together, and sometimes there's more brown than black, and sometimes there's more black than brown. When you're using this type of paint, make sure you really smooth it out so there's a nice thick coating. Now I'm going to put a little bit more black underneath the wheels. That's where the shadows are. And then finally, some green. Let's mix some green and brown together. Ooh, that's nice and rich. Look how beautiful that color is. Now we're really moving into the home stretch, kids. We have just a little bit more work to do on our landscape, and we're going to mix some yellow and tap it in to our beautiful grove of trees in the background. Just tap, tap, tap the yellow wherever you want it. Then mix up some orange onto your brush, and then put it in areas that the yellow is not. And then finally some pink. I love the fall and all of the beautiful colors on the trees. Okay, that looks pretty good, kids. I'm going to add a few more details a little bit later on when this paint dries a little bit, like some rows of harvest rows in the fields and just different lines. But now it's time to color our truck. So what I recommend, kids, is using colored pencils for any area on the truck that you feel is a little bit more detailed. So I do have some pencil sharpener here, and I think what I'll do is just sharpen my pencil, and I'm using some pretty thick colored pencils, but I have some colored pencils here that are thinner. I might get those out too. And I want to color the background of Bob's pumpkin patch sign, just a little bit on the background. So tiny areas like this are just a little bit harder to paint. So this is a good time for you to decide if you want more control over the different tiny areas. See? And I think I'll color in my driver, Mr. Bob. Now, I do want to point out one tiny little area. Do you see how Bob is in a window? We need to paint that background, the same colored background as this, but just use a little bit of a lighter touch. There we go. There, now it looks like has a window in his truck. Now, I'm going to color this part with this color. Are you thinking about what color you want to paint or color your truck? Because I am, and I haven't decided yet. I think I will do some blue hubcaps. Some coloring in that second circle. And I'm going to use my paintbrush to paint in my wheels. I'm going to use some black. But you can use a colored pencil, whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, kids, I think I've decided on my color. Have you decided on yours? Now, this one, I painted different colors of pink and orange and red, which I really like. But I think for this one, I'm going to do turquoise. So I'm going to do this really light blue. And I'm using a really light color. So it's mostly water, just tapping my brush in the color. Now I'm going to mix it with a tiny bit of green. right here. And then I'm going to use a tiny little bit of black paint and a lot of water to paint this fender here. And boys and girls, I am done. But we're not done with the project. So while this dries a little bit, we're going to get a second sheet of paper, and I have one right here, and I'm going to teach you how to draw some bushels of apples, some pumpkins, and some buckets of flowers. So if you're not finished, that's okay. This is a long project. So you take your time and finish up your background, and when you're ready, come join me and we'll make some pumpkins and flowers. Okay kids, I'm going to show you how to do a couple of different options, but we're going to put them right here as well. So you can always pause and follow along with the little drawing guides, but these are super simple. Let's do some pumpkins first. Now I know you know how to do pumpkins because we've done a few, but let's do it again. Dot here, curve, and another curve, kind of like the shape of your finger. Then you start at the top and you go out, 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 and in. Out, 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 and down. Start at the middle again. Out, 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 and in. Out, 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 and in. I'm going to make this one just a little bit bigger and add a stem. Now, not all of these pumpkins have to be so ginormous. You can have smaller ones, but I like drawing in the same kind of style. Maybe I'll do like a Cinderella pumpkin. It has more lines like this. And maybe I'll do a smaller one right here, just a circle. So different ways to draw pumpkins. Now we're going to draw a bushel of apples. So we're going to draw a bucket and a top. So it's kind of like a straight line here, and two angle lines. Now let's draw some apples. They kind of look like little hearts. Notice how I'm not doing the bottoms? Now let's layer in some more apples. Maybe this one's just the top. There we go. There's one big bushel of apples. And you can make this more textured. Maybe it's a straw basket. There. Now, let's do some flowers. Start off the same way. Here's my favorite type of flower to draw. Put your marker on the paper, make a dot, and go around and around and around and around and around until it's as big as you want it. These are kind of like what I call ranunculuses. They're a spring flower. And they're so pretty. Look, you can make them small or big. Just a bunch of swirls. It almost looks like buttercream on a beautiful birthday cake. Draw some leaves. Now, all done. Let's do some more. Okay, let's do some big sunflowers. So you want to draw the circle and then a bunch of bumps going around. There, that's pretty good. Okay, I'll have more ideas for you. So look right here, there's more different types of flowers. So you can make more than one for sure. Now it's time to color. One thing I like to do is I like to start any details with colored pencils. So I can choose to use some yellow, some orange, and then I'm going to paint the outsides. And I'm going to paint the buckets too. I'm going to color in the leaves, but I'm gonna paint everything else, all of the other flowers. And I'm gonna paint all of these. But if you wanna add a little bit of detail, just go ahead and outline your apples. Really roughly. There. Now I'm going to color in the stems of my pumpkins. And I might just add a few lines with my brown. Some pumpkins aren't all orange. I know some pumpkins are kind of like blue. That should be good. Okay, now I'm going to get out my paintbrush. I'm going to do my pumpkins first. Okay, that looks good. I'll do my apples. A little bit of pink, a little bit of orange. Just touch your brush just right on them. Look how fast that is. And I'll do my baskets in just a minute. Now I'm going to do some purple flowers. Do a few purple ranunculuses, some pink ones. And if your brush goes over the outside of your flower, even better. Fills up more space. And then I think I'll do some yellow, orange here. And then some red. Well, those are pretty. Okay, and depending on what kind of vessel you have your flowers in, just this one's gray, this one's blue. Just do little straight lines. And I think I'll do this one brown. All done. Okay, now what we want to do now, I'm going to actually put my pencils away, kind of get a jump start on cleaning up. And we get to cut these out. Now, kiddos, these are a little wet. I'm going to let that dry. So let's go back to this work of art. If you want to make some adjustments, you can. For instance, you can take your colored pencils and you can draw lines in your fields. This is especially effective when your paper is dry. Or you can take your paintbrush, but I think I really like using the colored pencils right now. I think that's all I'll do. That looks pretty good. But what you want to do is take your scissors and we're going to create a line. We're going to cut out the top of our truck here. So what I want you to do, turn your paper over so that your drawing goes to the bottom or faces the table. Then I want you to fold this over just so that the edges meet up. And I want you to take your scissors and go snip. So you made that little cut. Now what happens is that when you open up your paper, there's like a little hole exactly where you want to stick your scissors. So take your scissors and very carefully, now your paper might be a little damp, mine is, and you want to create a cut all the way to the cab. And then all the way to the back. Now, the reason why we're doing that is so that we can tuck in our pumpkins. So let's cut out some pumpkins. You don't have to cut exactly as close to the line, perfect. Just a general cut is good. So I'm going towards the black line, moving my paper around, not just my scissors. There's one pumpkin. And see how I'm moving my paper and not my scissors? This hand stays pretty stationary. Okay, so now kids, what we can do is this. We can take our pumpkins and stick them in to the bed of the truck. Look, you can overlap them. There's a little one right there. And then, now if you're happy with that, you can glue it down. But you have other options, see? You can cut out your flowers. Did you see my little truck? That's what we're doing today, this retro truck filled with all the pumpkins. Isn't that cool? Now, not everything has to go into your truck bed, but for instance, if you wanted to put your pumpkins here and you wanted to instead put flowers in the back of your truck bed, you can just tuck them in, maybe even the apples go in. See? And you can arrange these however you want. Okay, well, because it is Bob's, pumpkin patch, I think we better glue in our pumpkins. So what I want to do is stick my pumpkins wherever I feel I want to have them. I'm going to put this one here, that there, and this one. So I can glue this one completely. So take some glue sticks and stick the little one on that one. And then all you have to do is just really put the glue on the back of the pumpkin. And then tuck it down. And then you want to flip it over. And so lift this up a bit and glue right along there, and then tuck that in. There is Bob's truck filled with beautiful pumpkins. Now, I just feel like this is going to waste. I want to put my bushel of apples along the side of the road. Wouldn't that be fun? And then I'll put it right there. And we can maybe put a basket of flowers right here. You don't have to add this stuff, but it kind of is fun to do that. Maybe I'll put it right here. There we go. No, I think I'll just leave that off to the side. Okay, kids, I am finished. Oh my goodness. Now this was a longer project, so well done you for completing it. I'm proud of you because look what beautiful art you have to put up in your home and for everyone to enjoy. So I'm really excited to see what you create. So boys and girls, before you snap a picture, let's get rid of all of our papers. I'm going to put my marker away. My paintbrushes I'm going to clean off, and I'll dump out my water. And go ahead and save this template because you never know if you're going to make another retro truck again. So boys and girls, I'm all set. So make sure you snap a picture and send it our way so that I can share in what you created. Okay, kids, see you later.